Hey crafters! Today I'm going to use some Lawn Fawn products to make a card celebrating the 4th of July, as well as one for the 1st of July. Hope you enjoy! So I started with a piece of colored card that is 4 3/4 inches by 6 3/4 inches. And I placed the stitched fireworks around the card where I wanted them to be. Now these dies will leave an impression of the fireworks, and I put it through my die cutting machine carefully without using any washi tape, because sometimes I find that using the washi tape can leave a little bit of a mark on the background. Now I want to paint on these fireworks, so I used colored card instead of using my ink blending tools on them. And I used some Perfect Pearls to color them in. So the top color is called Perfect Pearl and the bottom one is called Perfect Gold. And I just used a water brush to paint on the fireworks, and I alternated between the gold and the Perfect Pearl color. Now Perfect Pearls work best on a darker cardstock, so they're perfect for fireworks cards like this one here. And because I'm using a water brush to apply the Perfect Pearls, I don't need to worry about them rubbing off later. They'll stick on the card, which is really nice. So I'm just going to alternate between the Perfect Gold and the Perfect Pearl color. And I've just sped it up here so that it doesn't get too boring for you. And after I've added one coat, you can see this is what it looks like. And I'm just going to go back in and add a second coat of color. And that's 2 coats there. Just gorgeous. Now, since this is a fireworks card, I thought it needed a bit more color in the background. So using some metallic paint, this is the white gold color, I'm going to splatter it around the background. And I'm also going to add some gold colored splatters as well. Once I'm happy with the splatter, I'll leave this aside to dry. Now to spell out July on my card, I'm going to use these Oliver's Stitched ABC dies from Lawn Fawn. And I'm also going to use the TH and the ST on the Canadian one. So I'll just run these through my die cutting machine, and then I'll remove them from the dies. And I want to keep these letters organized so that I can color them together. So I'll just put them aside here. Now the number die I used was one from my stash. It's a Tim Holtz number die, because I didn't have a Lawn Fawn number that would work. So I'm just going to use some double-sided tape and put the dies face up, the die cut shapes face up on this, so that I can keep them organized. And this will help when I'm coloring in the letters and the number there. So to give this card an American vibe, I thought it would be fun to color these letters and the number like the American flag. So I just used a ruler and I put down a couple horizontal lines across all of them to start. It doesn't have to be perfect, as long as it's mostly straight. And then using my blue Copic, this is B05, I colored in the first 2 letters just on the top there, as you see. And then I use my red Copic, this is R35, to trace along the lines. And then I repeated this on the bottom half of the letters so that I've got some red lines going across all the letters and the number there. It's amazing, but it's already starting to look like an American flag. So once I added the lines, I thought it could use a little bit more blue. So I added blue to the L as well, to extend it a little bit. And then using a white gel pen, I added some white dots to look like stars over all the blue areas. So here are the finished letters, and I'm just going to run them through my sticker maker so that they'll have adhesive on the back of them. Now the stamps that I used for this card come from 2 different Lawn Fawn sets. So I used On the Beach, which got me this great blanket for my critters who were enjoying the fireworks. And I also used the 2 critters from that stamp set. So we have a bear and a fox. And because I made 2 cards at the same time, I stamped this twice. Now I used some stamps from the Crazy Antics stamp set. I used these food stamps, as well as the sentiment, which you'll read later, and the picnic basket. And to make it a bit more exciting, I wanted to give the food an American and Canadian vibe. So for instance, on these chips, I colored them in, the left one to be the American brand Doritos, and the right one to be the Canadian brand Ruffles. So I started by coloring in the bag for the appropriate color, and then I used my black gel pen to add some details on the chip bag, as well as my white gel pen to add in some shapes. And those little tiny triangles will look like Doritos when we're finished. And I also drew a little Ruffles chip at the bottom there. Now, once the white gel pen has dried, you can go over that area with a Copic marker and color it with that color. So on a Doritos bag, the chips on the front are orange. So once that has set, I'm going to use my orange Copic pen over the Doritos, and then a nice light brown on the Ruffles, and you'll see that great detail. And I did a similar thing on the pop. I did a little Pepsi can as well as a Canada Dry can. I just love little details. Now for the grass on my card, I just used 2 colors of Distress Oxide. So I used Mowed Lawn at the top here, and then Pine Needles at the bottom. And I just blended these 2 colors together. So this piece is as long as my card, which is 6 3/4 inches, and it's about 3 inches high. I did make it really high though, so I will be cutting off a little bit of the extra once I'm finished. So I'm going to use the grassy border die to cut out my grass. Now this die is not quite long enough, so I will have to cut it several times. So once I've run that through my die cutting machine, I'm going to glue it on the bottom of my card there. And I only really need about 1.5 inches of this grassy border. So I'm just going to put glue on the top bit of it here, and then put it onto my nice background. Then once that's secure, I'll just use my guillotine to trim off any excess off the bottom and the sides of the card. So now that the scene's set, we can put together the card. So I put down these towels, and on the American card, I colored them blue, white, and red. And then I have my 2 critters looking at the fireworks. And I've got the fox and the bear. And they're going to have some snacks. So I've added some Doritos to their picnic basket. And also some more snacks on their blankets. So I colored the bear like a Kodiak bear on this card, and I also added some details on the little sandwiches. just with my Copic markers, and they've got some Pepsi and another bag of Doritos at the front there. Now, as I mentioned, I put my letters through my sticker maker, which puts a little adhesive on the back of them. So I'm just going to adhere those lightly to my card, and then I can wiggle them around a little bit before I push them down firmly onto the card. So here's the American version, the July the 4th card, and also the Canadian version, which has a polar bear or white bear and ruffles and Canada Dry instead. So the last thing I'm going to do is just adhere these cards to a 5 by 7 inch card blank, and that way there'll be a nice white border around the outside of the card. Now once that's secured on the card, I'm going to add the inside sentiment, and I'm going to use some sentiments from the Crazy Antics stamp set. And I'm just stamping this in black, but you could always use a color if you prefer. It says, "Life's a picnic with you," and there's 2 images of food there. And then I'll repeat this on the other card. And I just love how these cards turned out. Adding all that detail made such a difference. So here are the finished cards, the Canadian one and the American one. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found this video inspiring. Be sure to subscribe so that you're notified whenever I post a new video. Have a crafty day!